The 18th stage of the Paris-Dakar 2001 sees Hiroshi Mashioka finally put one over the rest of the car field. He was victorious today, while Cyril Desprez, the young and up-and-coming Frenchman on the Works BMW, wins his first stage of the year. However, tempers are getting frayed, people are getting tired. What you missed from yesterday, no time for sightseeing though, on the stage through all of the dust. Number 84, Lawrence Hacking, had a very, very different day on the Dakar indeed.
Yesterday was the biggest day in Africa, I think over 800 kilometers, and in the special test, my modified electrical system quit, so I had no ignition. So 50 kilometers from before the end of the special, it stopped running completely. So I got some help from some local people in a dump truck and got out of the special, and then got to a town, and then got into another truck and got to the frontier, the border, Senegal border, and then got another one into up to here, and then got it in and fixed it. 4 o'clock in the morning, now I'm ready to go again. Otherwise, yeah, I'm happy to be here because it's a big day yesterday.
Lawrence was very weary indeed this morning when that interview was done. Not such a good problem though for one of the quads. He ran into big problems yesterday. Twice I've landed hard, and this time I've broken the sump and I've lost all the oil. A bit of a quick fix there. Many people having a long and tiring day out in the field. Everybody else helping out each other, and teammates exchanging notes as well.
The prop shaft, but after he broke the carter, the gearbox. Ah, and it changed everything.
Gearbox also?
Yes. Non, il a démonté la boîte, mais après n'est pas nécessaire parce qu'ils ont changé le petit carter de...
Ah, c'est pas
grave. On se reverra, tu viendras m'amener une bouteille de limonade.
Bon, dites-moi, là, il me semble que
the question here to this crew is, I've seen you got 3 people in your car. Who was the third? Well, he says, of course, talking about Flat Eric in the middle there, it is my second navigator. His name is Rapido. But it's confidential, as Hubert doesn't know about this, as he hasn't paid his entry fee. He says, well, it's our mascot, and he gives us luck. Well, the stage today, the second Senegalese stage with narrow roads with a lot of vegetation, high grass and bushes. The first part of the special is over winding roads through the bush, and the second half is a lot quicker and runs over some very, very fast roads. It will be difficult for the trucks. Well, drama even before the start this morning. This was at the bivouac at Bakel just after breakfast at around 8:30 this morning. The number 54 machine here catching light, and with temperatures approaching some 43, 44 degrees at Bakel yesterday, the temperatures were rising and something unfortunately gave. Eventually pushing his machine away, and soon all hands were on deck.
Parce que c'est là que ça va être la merde, là. Là où ça a brûlé, parce que la merde va passer. Alors on va essayer avec du scotch américain. Il y a une fuite sous le réservoir.
It says here that the fuel tank was leaking, and it lit up when I started it with a bit of backfire. I shut off the rear tank, so today I'll go with the front one. We all do the Dakar together. We do 6 months preparation, but there's no reason why this should have happened, but we'll see if it's all right now.
si la moto va bien démarrer avant de partir, quoi, c'est normal.
Bah, ça serait pas le Dakar si c'était facile.
It will not be the Dakar if it was easy. Everything is hard. There's a trap everywhere waiting to catch you out on the road. And a bit of a quick fix. There's nothing like an elastic band, a piece of tank tape and a lump hammer. Are you afraid? He says, no, if it catches light, I'll just jump off. The most important thing for me is to start this morning. That is the spirit. And indeed, he did start this morning, and indeed, he did finish today. The Frenchman did get to the finish this afternoon. So, from an unlucky start to the day, it was an easy day in the saddle, relatively speaking. The third to last stage on the Dakar 2001, the 23rd running of the event. And the first victory in 2001 on a stage for the young up-and-coming Frenchman, Cyril Desprez, the 2000 Atlas Rally winner on the machine. He's not only a very good rider, but he's highly rated as a good mechanic as well. So Desprez, the man for the future, maybe to take over the reins after Richard Sanct moves on. However, Sanct certainly got a few more years left in him yet. Sanct retiring on the run into Attar, the rest day in the middle of this 3-week-long enormous rally, the biggest motorsport event in the world. Desprez victorious today, covering the 285 kilometers in just under 2 hours 55 minutes. First victory for BMW since the departure of Nani Roma, who is already back home in Spain. Second today, the KTM of Giovanni Sala. Sala some 51 seconds back of Desprez. And Desprez, of course, starting second on the road this morning. South Africa's Alfie Cox, third today, even though he got to a fork in the road and opted to go one way and many people went another. And it just so happened that that way was exactly the same mileage as what the others did. Jordi Arcarons was fourth on the stage today, encountering a little bit of wildlife, whilst Jean Brucy made it 2 Frenchmen inside the top 5 with his number 10 KTM. Top 5 covered by less than 9 minutes in a 3-hour stage. Dust, of course, once more a problem for many of the competitors. Chile's Carlos Dugavado having a little bit of fun out on the stage, as indeed he was last night wheeling around the bivouac. But the overall leader was 7th on the stage today. Fabrizio Mioni, the Italian on his KTM, some 9 minutes and 18 seconds back. He's sleeping well at night, he is saying, and having no problems during the day. On board here with Andrea Meyer, says that she's not going to risk anything today, 2 days before she arrives in Dakar. She was last overall, and now she's 32nd overall. However, as she's talking to us, she realizes that she's missed a slot left, and she has to go through the bush and find her tracks after the crossroads. Mayon, the Frenchman, was the leading hunter today, the leading amateur as well. He finished 8th on the stage, a good result for the amateur in amongst all of the professionals. Likewise, Esteve Puyol, the Spaniard, was 9th. And Britain's John Deacon was 10th on the stage today. Relatively easy, but 45-degree temperatures making it very, very taxing indeed. Good job there by Desprez ahead of Sala, Cox, Arcarons and Brucy. The stage finishing in Tambacounda this evening, but overall, Fabrizio Mioni's lead is still 22 minutes from Jordi Arcarons, Dugavado, Puyol and Cox.
J'ai fait une petite erreur quand même.
Cyril Dupre here saying, I made a small mistake, as you can see on my bike.
Je suis sorti un petit peu large dans une piste, mais beaucoup de glissade, beaucoup de plaisir.
Off the road on a corner, but in this stage we had a lot of fun, and I saw monkeys quite a few times. It was a nice stage. It's the first time since the beginning of the rally that I've started up front. No marks on the road from other competitors. I don't know how the others are, but normally I think I'm ahead of them. I stayed concentrated all day long, so we're going to have to wait and see. After the second control point, Giovanni Sala here saying, I made a mistake and I fell. During that crash, I damaged my road book. It's broken, and then I had to continue on without it. I went slower, but here I'm okay after 40 kilometers without it. As the end of the special was dangerous, I went slower and slower without any more problems. And as you can see, the road book completely messed up, like a toilet roll flapping in the wind. Overall leader Fabrizio Mioni saying it was a quiet stage for him, but the most important problem for me is to keep my concentration. I must manage myself and be cool with my bike and my engine. One more stage tomorrow, nothing is definitely done or finished.
Ancora un altro passo verso Dakar, ne manca uno, speriamo bene.
So then, the overall leader of the Dakar with 2 more days to go, the 43-year-old Italian Fabrizio Mioni. He did his first Dakar back in 1995, and this time it could be the golden one. Just what does the Dakar mean to him? He says, the Dakar and I are as one. The Dakar is a very different race, and when sport turns into physical strength, that is what interests me. I like it when sport becomes a fight, and this pleasure is why I do the Dakar. Now, back in 1998, we see him finishing one of the stages with a broken GPS because of a malfunction between his onboard microphone, and his temper goes absolutely through the roof. So what does he think of his temper? Yes, it's true, he says, I do have a temper, but this year, at the beginning in Morocco really, I chose to just sit back from the main fight, and I didn't take any risks. I was with the leaders, but just a little further back. This was my more experienced mind saying, I just had to wait. However, this year it's come true. The KTMs have been also dominant in the top 5 on the Dakar. What interests me
delle corse a me piace soltanto la fase sportiva,
is the sport
fase, diciamo, della gara.
On my bike. Anything off the bike just doesn't interest me.
Quella dello stare sopra la moto, poi quello che viene dopo la gara, dopo un'eventuale vittoria, cioè non è quello, non mi interessa, quindi non mi cambia granché. Mi tiro fuori un po', cerco, mi piace tirarmene fuori.
Fabrizio Mioni en route to Dakar. So then the battle in the car section absolutely reaching fever pitch after all the drama, especially after yesterday with Kleinschmidt and Servia coming to blows, well, rhetorically at least. Therefore, Hiroshi Mashioka leading the Dakar overall by less than 6 minutes. Had to just go for it this morning in his Mitsubishi Pajero. He went for it so much he broke his windscreen right in front of his line of view there. And what of Jean-Louis Schlesser? He started quickly.
300 mètres, posté. Pas bon.
Schlesser realizing that there was no way through there. He was up at one point over Mashioka, but then Mashioka had a puncture, and then all Jean-Louis Schlesser's world fell around his ears. He also had a puncture, but not through the lack of trying, passing some of the motorcycles. It was very, very close. So it was a puncture for Mashioka, a puncture for Schlesser, and by the time they came to the end of the stage, after 2 3/4 hours of high-speed rally raiding, there was just a difference of 1 minute and 37 seconds to the advantage of the Japanese driver. Schlesser saying, is it very fast to the finish? Yes, indeed, it is very fast. And back on board with the French crew. The co-driver saying the finish is in 1.8 kilometers. And Schlesser conceding the game is over. He could feel it already. So Schlesser second on the stage today. That means that Mashioka now has a lead of 7 minutes and 28 seconds with just 2 more stages to go. A decent stage tomorrow, Saturday, and then the short super special on Sunday around Dakar. Mashioka leading by 7.5 minutes from Schlesser. It's going to be difficult to get that time back for the Frenchman, all other things being equal. Through the bush speeded Jose Maria Servia in the sister Schlesser buggy to that of the Frenchman. Servia just keeping his nose clean. Servia eventually third, some 2 minutes back of the Mitsubishi of Mashioka and Schlesser. Jean-Pierre Fontenay was fourth, but not without his problems today on the stage, particularly with the dust. Gregoire Demavius was in front of Jean-Pierre Fontenay, and Fontenay blamed Demavius for holding him up, but actually Demavius had Stéphane Enrad in front of him, and Demavius couldn't get past the Belgian's buggy. Kleinschmidt was sixth, Demavius fifth, by the way, so Fontenay fourth, Demavius fifth, Kleinschmidt sixth. Bruno Sabi had a good day in his V8 pushrod Ford. He was seventh, sideways as always, and Thierry Delaverne in his Nissan, he was eighth. Now this is Stéphane Enrad, as you can see, ahead on the stage of Jean-Pierre Fontenay, who appears through the dust. Now this is after Fontenay had passed Demavius. Demavius doing a gentlemanly gesture, letting the Frenchman's blue and white Mitsubishi through. Now this is at the finish, Fontenay arriving abruptly and angry indeed, and indeed Gilles Bicard, his co-driver, coming over to Enrad saying, is there something wrong with your windscreen? 180 kilometers we spent behind you. Can you see? Can you see? So temper's getting certainly frayed. And likewise, Demavius saying, I let you through. How dare you be rude to me on the stage? And Fontenay suddenly realizing his mistake. And Demavius saying, hey, if you do that to me ever again and you make rude gestures to the screen, I will not let you through. So Fontenay soon realizing his mistake. Demavius being as cool as ever. Henri Pescarolo was behind all this battle. He finished in 10th position with his Nissan, whilst only 5 seconds behind was Kenjiro Shinozuka's Mitsubishi Pajero. Not a good rally for Shino. He's now got 25 hours of penalty after some bad luck. Henri Pescarolo just ahead, as I said, of Kenjiro Shinozuka with his Nissan. Nissan still continuing to lead in T1 overall. Carlos Souza victorious the other day, but having prop shaft problems and gearbox casing problems yesterday in his slightly longer wheelbase machine. Souza a little bit further back today in 15th. Magnaldi in his Mercedes, 43 minutes back with his T1 machine. Stefan Pederhansel leading overall in Nissan number 219 in the T1 class, essentially Group N showroom specification. Jérôme Rivière, the winner of T1 yesterday.
C'est génial. Être sur ces pistes, c'est un vrai plaisir. On se fait le pilotage aujourd'hui, par exemple, est super. C'est très varié tous les jours. Et on est là, dans une ambiance qu'on aime, dans l'Afrique qu'on aime, et ça, c'est génial. Très honnêtement, c'était un très très beau rallye cette année. Très difficile, très bien découpé et très sélectif. Donc, en fait, je crois que quand on apprécie le Dakar, c'est tout à fait le genre de rallye qu'on aime, parce que le Dakar, on est là pour se battre, même si on n'est pas dans les avant-postes du classement. L'objectif, c'est toujours d'arriver, de faire toutes les pistes. Et vraiment, c'était un très beau rallye cette année.
So the results then, Mashuoka really putting one in today and surprising Schlesser by 1 minute and 37 seconds. Servia third, Fontenay and Gregoire de Mavius, the Belgian in fifth position. But overall, Mashuoka has a lead now of 7.5 minutes from Schlesser. Kleinschmidt third, Servia and Souza.
So today was very twisty in the forest. So I don't know, and one time in one wheel is broken, no puncture. Wheel is go taxi out. So we change in the forest 3 minutes. So maybe today was same time, same drive in with Jean-Louis. But what happened? He's just arrived front of us. So please, I have a little bit of time. So tomorrow, interesting.
Interesting?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Because tomorrow is we start maybe fast, so very difficult in navigation because many village in the past, so just to define the village is very, very difficult in navigation. So tomorrow we will still cool. So continue.
Ça se passe pas mal pour nous. Depuis le début de la course, on a quasiment eu aucun problème technique. On est toujours à zéro crevaison à une journée.
Haven't had any punctures, no technical problems. The only problem was yesterday when we broke our two rear shock absorbers.
Pour rejoindre Bakel, on a eu un problème d'amortisseur.
Then we went slower than usual during today's stage, but we are always about 3 hours ahead of the second place man in the category.
Puisque nous avons à peu près 3 heures d'avance sur le deuxième dans la même catégorie en T1. Donc le Nissan, le nouveau Pathfinder.
He says that his new Nissan Pathfinder is a very good car.
Pour cette catégorie, c'est une voiture qui est très proche de la série.
And very well adapted to this sort of race. Well, what about the trucks? Johan Peter Reif, victorious today for the second time on the Dakar in his MAN, covering the 285 kilometers in as good as 4.25 hours. 850 horsepower thundering through the bush. Laprace was second in the Tatra, while Sugawara's Hino, the Japanese crew, were third. Overall, Laprace leads in the Tatra, over 8 hours ahead of the Japanese Hino, and Reif in third. The Kamaz no longer in the top 5. Patono in his Mercedes, well, he was 5th on the stage today. He's 4th overall. Johan Peter Reif there in the KTM machine, pounding through the bush. Very narrow indeed for them today. It was, as it will be tomorrow. penultimate day of the 23rd Paris-Dakar Rally, a stage totaling 564 kilometers, but the timed special stage in the middle measuring 217 kilometers. It was actually the very first special stage of the Dakar last year. This time we're running it in the opposite direction, crossing the Senegalese savannah. It's going to be very narrow and very quick, and the vegetation will get even denser as we go towards Dakar. 2 more days left in 2001.